wanted to. And that's dangerous because I have a lot of stuff to say, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to give you the basics. Hi, I'm Jeremy Baker. I am running for the state representative in the Washington 49th Legislative District. So I'm running to be your representative up in Olympia. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm watching what's going on. I've seen what's happening, and we need leaders to stand up. And there wasn't anybody to stand up. And it's like, I looked around and I go, well, it looks like it's going to be me. You know, if not you, who? If not when? If not now, when? Right? So now is my time, and so that's why I'm standing here in front of you, because our country is precious to me. Like Aaron said, I'm a Marine Corps veteran. I've served overseas, and to watch what has been happening in our great nation, it's hard. You don't even recognize it. And we, as a people, need to say, you know what, that's not okay. You know what, I'm going to make a difference. So that's why I'm standing here. And the reason I'm talking to you today, because we all have a wonderful opportunity before us. There has never been a greater time to reestablish conservative values and family-focused American first principles than right now, this month, this next month, and for 2022. This November, we have an opportunity to really, really change the course of our nation. And the reason we need to do that is because we are living in terrible times. Like, in this world has always been to raise a family. I have 4 sons. I'm married to my high school sweetheart, and I have been so focused on making those boys into men. And then after what happened in COVID, I looked around and I go, what good is it if I make these 4 men great, outstanding men, if there's nothing left of this world, of this great nation for them to live in? And I looked at that and I go, you know what? I got to stand up and I got to try to make a difference, because there are so many children in our community that have suffered immensely, like maybe unrecoverably, like breaks your heart pain. And what kind of country are we if we can't protect our innocence, if we can't hold them in high regard? This is the first time I've ever seen in any nation that we would sacrifice our children for the old to live. Those that have lived their lives. Normally, I would go and fight, and I would lay my life down for that next generation, any kid. Because that's the future. That is the hope of our great nation, and we have kind of squandered that. And so in order to recoup this, we need to refocus on what makes America great. And the first and foremost things, I'm running on basically 3 pillars, and it's pretty self-evident on why that is. Because as a family, families are a foundation of our society. If we don't have strong families, we don't have a strong society. So we need to reestablish that strength that has been the bedrock of our nation. And so in order to do that, we really need to have public safety. We need to have safe streets. We need to make crime illegal again. What we have right now is lawlessness. We've essentially broken the social contract that we have had of law and order. And the reason we've done that is for this naive idea that we are going to make everything right with some laws and some equity and some virtue signaling. And what we've done is we've set up a system where now it's okay, it's unprosecutable to have drugs. We don't prosecute drug offenses in our state. And what does that lead to? And if you have a bunch of drug users on our streets, it's not compassionate to let them just keep using drugs, because then they go around and they start victimizing our neighbors, victimizing our businesses, and victimizing our community, and it's not sustainable. I was talking to a couple business owners, a guy that owns a couple Chevrons, and he says he just did his inventory, and he's losing $80,000 per store per quarter. So for his 2 stores, for the whole year, he's lost $320,000. Just so you know, you don't make that much money running a gas station. It's a tight business. There's tight margins. And this is going on throughout our community. And the reason it's going on is because the laws that we're writing in Washington State, we've made it hard. The Senate Bill 5476 is the law that made drug offenses unprosecutable. Prosecutors must offer alternative treatment. And so the officers don't go in and arrest them because they know that they send them to the DA, they will just be put back on the street. So these and the people that are taking drugs, they know this, and so there's no consequences. And we need consequences. We need accountability in our life. That's how this thing works. If we don't have accountability, chaos ensues. Right? People will take advantage of each other. And that is one of my planks, but that's not the one right now. Because right now I want to talk about affordability. I do things in order so I don't lose track. Right? Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. So affordability, I mean, everybody understands that food prices are high. Gas is high. Rent's high. Credit card interest rates are getting higher. Mortgage rates are getting higher. Like, what, name the thing that hasn't gone up. Yeah, boom, your pay. Every day that we go to work, we are getting less and less rich. We are losing money every day. And the reason for that is because of our politicians, our leaders. Last summer, inflation was rising. It was getting to the point that it's made people notice. And what was it? It was transitory. Right? That's what they told us. It was transitory. But it wasn't transitory. It was a fire it was smoldering and it was starting to rage. And now look at it. Our leaders are lying to us. They are putting us in position instead of protecting us and telling us, hey, tough times are coming. We have inflation. We're going to need to raise interest rates, and you guys need to be ready for this. Instead of that, no, they say everything's fine. Go out and go spend. Go buy that new house. Buy that new car. Get overextended. And then, when they cannot deny it any longer, they say, oh yeah, we're in a tough spot. And then they start cranking up the interest rates. And then we can't afford our houses. We can't afford our food. We can't afford anything. And then we go bankrupt. We lose our house. It's foreclosed on. And guess who picks up those sweet deals? And those businesses go out of business. And then that's when people just kind of sweep in. The people with the money come in and they take all our hard-earned sweat and equity that we've worked our whole life for. They take that, and then we are left wondering, what the heck just happened? And then how am I going to rebuild my life? How am I going to provide for my family? How are my kids going to establish themselves? Last session in Washington, our state legislatures had $15 billion in surplus funds. And the inflation was at 8.5%. When they were going, what are we going to do with this money? Did they give it to us? No, they didn't give it to us. They put it in their pet projects. They made sure that they raised our taxes. I mean, they weren't done. They raised our taxes. They made the inflation inferno rage even faster and even hotter. That's not leadership. Who are they representing?
Themselves.
They're representing themselves and the people that pay for their salary, pay for their campaigns, their special interests, those PACs, those unions, those corporations, those big pharma. My opponent is very, very well funded by all the insurance companies, all the big pharma, Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, you name it. She gets the money for it. And then you wonder why she pushes gender-affirming care. Because that's a moneymaker. It's not just like they want to care for these kids. It's all about the money. All right, and that's why I really got passionate about this race, is because of those children in our schools. Our schools are failing our children. They're failing our next generation, and they deserve so much better. When my child, my freshman, he was supposed to go into Columbia River High School, and they were doing Zoom classes in 2020. He never set foot in that school. And his enthusiasm for life just waned day after day after day. And I watched that joyful little boy become a shell of himself, right? And so I pulled him out of school, and I homeschooled him. I tried to get him into Kingsway. He couldn't get into Kingsway because his grades were so crappy, because he had no motivation. But we got him into the Kingsway right across the street over here, and that ability to get him in a nice, comforting, nurturing environment, that we were able to turn it around. And he was able to regain that enthusiasm, that passion for life. He's doing well now. But so many of our children are not. They were not afforded that opportunity. They are stuck in these schools. They're stuck with this ideology. They're stuck with the focus on not the reading, writing, and arithmetic that is so important for them to establish themselves when they get out of high school. Our teachers are great teachers. They love the children. It's the power structures. It's the unions. It's our state legislature that has burdened them with all of these policies. You know, they start with social and emotional learning. They start with comprehensive sex education, and then they confuse our kids, and then they get them confused with gender identity, and then they get them into hormone therapy, you name it, and guess what? They have written it into law. It is codified in our state law that they are prohibited from telling us what is going on with our children. So instead of building up the family, they're actively destroying it. They're actively getting in between us as parents and grandparents and making them the primary sponsor of our kid, the primary stakeholder, as they say. That's not how it's supposed to be. We are supposed to be taking care of our children. We are the ones that are supposed to be making these decisions, not our government. And so we need to hold these people accountable for what they're doing to our society. We need to tell them, you know what, this is not okay. We are not okay with this. We want a better world for our kids and our grandchildren, and we aren't going to sit around and take it. So this rally is the unity rally. And it's not just unity rally between, different factions in the Republican Party. This is a unity rally for the American people, because the American people want the same thing. It's just these elites that have confused us and have made us believe that that they are in control, but they're not. We are the majority. And if we decide that this isn't going to be all right, if we decide that, you know what, enough's enough, and then we can make a change. I'm telling you, we have a wonderful opportunity here in November. This next month, we have an opportunity that we should not let pass us by, because these people are not done. If we don't do it, they got some more laws that they want to pass. I've seen them. They don't mind gun violence. They tried to pass a law where they would let out gang violence, gun drive-by shootings, reduce those crimes so they don't have to serve as much time. They're not done. And we're not either. America's not done. We are going to go out and we are going to go knock on these doors. I've been doing it all day. We're going to go knock on these doors. We're going to tell our friends. We're going to tell our neighbors. It's time to make a change. It's time for us to stand up for what we believe in. It's time for us to have these difficult conversations with all our friends and all our families and every person that we can think of, to have these conversations. Don't just sit in your house and say, you know what? It'll be all right. What'll happen, will happen. Ozzy says, I can't talk forever anymore. Anyway, did I do good, Ozzy? Okay, thank you. All right. No, I appreciate your time. What I would like to say is, every one of these candidates that are here today need help. We need support. We need you to come out and tell your friends and neighbors. We need money. We need your support. So, I'm Jeremy Baker. I'm running for your state to be your state representative in the 49th Legislative District. And with your support, we can make a change here in Washington. Thank you.